Hey, we are pre-recorded. I'm Jeff with eBay Addicts. You guys know my co-host here, Shane, the Rosin Grind Picker. And the first time ever on our podcast, we got a special guest with us, Dana Invest. Say hello to everybody.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me on the channel.
Right. So today's title of our podcast video is going to be, he did $20,000 a month in sales on eBay last month. And I was following you on Instagram, and you recently hit I think it was like $50,000 in sales in the past 90 days on eBay. So I kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about maybe picking your brain about what some of your strategies are, because some people, they look at it and they're like, wow, $50,000 in sales on eBay in 90 days. That's a great number. But then in their brain, I think part of it is they're like, I just can't do this, or I don't have a routine down. And so I wanted to bring on people where it's like, hey, this is your main full-time income. This is what you do is reselling, and maybe you can help drop some knowledge to help our audience. First of all, if you guys don't know, I had Dana on my channel about a month or so ago, and we did pretty well. So just give us a brief synopsis real quick and let people know what happened, because you used to be I think you were working at Home Depot for a while, right? Was it Lowe's or Home Depot or something?
Yeah.
And then you left there one day. You were a manager and you left there and went to become a full-time reseller. So give us a brief synopsis of your backstory real quick.
Yeah, so I did almost 20 years in retail with Home Depot. Was almost that entire career. And I was a store manager for 10 of those years and worked a lot of hours and had a lot of stress, and it was great money, but at the end it just wasn't fun. You get the wrong leadership in and it can be pretty bad. So I actually left Home Depot and I did a year of day trading, was really what I did. And I did a lot of stock market stuff. I did real estate investing, and I resold on the side kind of throughout that entire year. At the end of the year, I was having a lot more fun with the reselling than I was with the investing. And so I said, you know what, that's what I'm going to do for the next year. So January of this year, I decided to say, okay, I'm going to stop the trading side of it, of the day trading side. I still do investing, hence the name Dana Invests. I started my YouTube channel because I was going to do an investing series instead of a reselling series. And so I said, I'm going to give it a full year and see what I can do. And if I can pay the bills and, keep it where it needs to be, then that's the plan. And so full time, January 1st of this year. And, you just said it, but yeah, I just hit 50,000 90 day on eBay. I'm doing about $7-8 grand a month on Amazon right now. And then a couple grand split between Mercari and Facebook and Depop and, Facebook Marketplace, all that fun stuff. So started YouTube February of this year. So about a month into it, I decided that I was going to try YouTube, and I'm at 860 subs right now. And I was putting out a whole lot of content, and then I switched from yard selling stuff to what sold videos. And then I switched from what sold to live what sold packings. And so I'm just kind of trying to switch it up and see what works out. But the whole point of my channel is to help other resellers see, kind of like you said, that you can do it. And, to go from part-time to 50 grand or 50 grand 90 day within the first 10 months, I'm pretty happy with that.
Well, just Shane, if you have questions for our guests, go ahead and jump in. But I wanted to talk a little bit about your journey of you being a part-time reseller and kind of doing it part-time. And I think when I was reading your Instagram post, it said you did you went from where you were at doing $5,000 into sales 90 days to $50,000 90 day sales. Yeah. And that doesn't happen overnight. There's a lot of, when people see that, they're like, oh, wow, that's a lot of money in there. But then they don't realize the journey that's involved. You reinvesting capital, you going out hunting for the merchandise, pulling orders, shipping, reinvesting, taking photos, listing items. So I wanted to touch on that real quick. How was your journey from kind of doing this part-time, as a side hustle, to becoming your full-time gig? And talk to me about what your strategy was and how you went about scaling and growing your business, guys. Because I have 6,500 items in my store. When I saw your post on Instagram, I think you had 1,200 items active. So guys, you don't need to have 10,000, 20,000 items in your store to be successful on eBay. Dana's doing it with 1,200 items. So go ahead and kind of tell us your story.
Yeah, so I started in January. I was probably around 150 or 200 listings, which is what I had active. And I had different focuses, and I wasn't really sure what I was like going after at that point. I was watching Harry Tornado, and I was watching, um, Osborne to Thrift, and I was watching Shed Flips and that kind of stuff, just kind of watching and learning, right? So I have a pretty good memory. And so, like when I was with Home Depot, I could remember where any one of the 200,000 items were in this 70,000 square foot, building. And so when I see it, it goes up in the brain bank, and I'm like, okay, now I know when I see that camera or VCR or game or whatever it was, that hey, that's worth money. And so I just started kind of slowly building from there of stuff that's going to sell fast, which like the video games and DVDs and some of that kind of stuff. And then I started building a lot more long-term inventory for the long tail stuff of the DVD combo units and cameras, and I started putting ephemera in there and all that kind of stuff. And so through the year I hit a lot of different plateaus. And so I was at, like I said, about 5,000 90 day. And then I got to like 12,000 really fast, right? When I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And so like I got to 12,000 90 day within a month of like just doing it full time. And after that, I, just kept trying to build quality listings was my main focus. And I switched around. I was shipping every day of the week. I switched it to shipping Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I do 2-day handling on everything, so that I could have specific sourcing days that I would go out on, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so I had kind of that routine built in. And I got up to 25,000 90 day. And then again, I just kind of plateaued there and just kind of got stuck for a while. And so then I started watching again, like seeing like, what do I need to do to pick it up? And I got on a challenge. Some of your viewers might know, or I think some of them have been on your channel before, for the eBay Addicts at least, with Chris from Flip the World, and then Red Mountain Resell and Dixon's Pickens, Marcus over there. And we did a 10 a day in May challenge. And so the goal was to list 10 a day every single day, Monday through Sunday, for the entire month, and see what it did to your sales. And my sales went up. And so then we went to 15 in June, and then we went to 20 in July. And then we kind of tailed back a little bit off of it after that, because it was just, you can't keep growing your listings that much unless you're doing, the same thing over and over. You can't test 25 VCRs in a day and get them listed and cleaned and all that kind of stuff. And so that was kind of just the thing, is just getting somebody else pushing me and then me pushing them back. You'll still see it on like my Instagram that I'll get tagged with posted 12 today or listed 15 today or that kind of thing. And that's just us keeping each other accountable to, continue with quality listings, and not trying to get listings for the sake of getting a number, but getting listings for the sake of making sales, because that's the point, of the whole deal, is you got to make the sales. The listings don't matter. If you put up 100 $2 items, that's not going to do you what you need it to do. So that's the challenge, and from there it's just taken off. So that's kind of my journey and how I got where I am right now.
Yeah, I've had all of them on my channel before. Actually, I've had Eric on, I've had Flip the World on, and I've had Marcus. I've had all of them on as previous guests on my channel. So I wanted that's one of the things I wanted to touch on, was like how you stay motivated and how you stay focused on listing, because it's easy to do it on a Saturday or a Sunday when you got nothing going on. Maybe it's raining outside. You don't feel like going sourcing. And it's easy to sit home and say, hey, I cranked out 10 listings. I did it. But what'd you do Monday through Saturday? And you can't just do like the work on one day and then take the other 6 days off. So how do you like stay focused and stay motivated? Do you have like an accountability board? Do you write stuff on a calendar every day and say, hey, today's the 31st and I did 20 listed items today? Like, what do you do to kind of keep you focused and motivated into your business? Because most people, if they would say, hey, I did $10,000 or I did $20,000 in 90 days, they might be like, oh no, I'm good with that. But what is it that kind of keeps pushing you and keep you motivated to be like, oh no, I believe I can hit 50,000 in 90 days. I believe I can do $20,000 just on eBay. That doesn't count Macari or Amazon or any other platform you sell on. That's just eBay.
Right. So, you know what pushes me is seeing others succeed. I mean, I'll just be honest with that. Like I was born to thrift, and it's like saw him hit 50,000, and I was like, okay, I can do that, right? If he did it, I can do that. And so I was like, I'm going to chase him. But now he's up at like $90,000 90-day. It's absolutely crazy. Um, but so I have a couple different things. Like I said, it was putting in the routine. So I ship Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I do live wet solds while I'm doing that. And then I have every day, Monday through Saturday, I have a calendar reminder of my phone to list 5 items. And so that's the bare minimum that I will put up any single day is you got to list 5 items. So sometimes I'll try and get 10 or 15 done that day, and I'll have, I'll drop them all, or maybe I'll drop 10 of the 15 and save 5 for the next day if I know I'm going to have a busy packing day. Like tomorrow, I've got 38 orders going out right now, and that's going to take a while. So I'm not going to get 5 listings up at 9 o'clock in the morning because I'm still going to be packing. And so if you have the clear structure of knowing, hey, I have to get the stuff listed before I go outsourcing, then that's one of my things is I don't want to go outsourcing and build a big death pile. I want to list what do I still have that I haven't listed yet. Let's get that done, and then I can go outsourcing. And then when I come back, I want to list as much of that as physically possible, or at least photo it, so that I can get the drafts done. And if I'm sitting on the couch with my family or whatever, you can have the photos, and I can just drop them into drafts, and make it a lot easier on myself that way. But just having the routine, and then like I said, watching other people succeed pushes me, because I'm like, if it can be done, I can do it. And you have to have that mentality. If you need somebody to like externally push you, right? If your wife has to come in the room and be like, hey, did you do your 10 listings today? You probably shouldn't be a reseller. You should probably go work for somebody, right? So you got to self-motivate, in my opinion, if you want to be successful at it.
So what's your primary method of sourcing? Are you doing like yard sales or thrift stores, or are you doing a little bit both, or
a little bit of everything? So my bread and butter stuff is estate sales. I live in an area where there's a retirement community. And when I say retirement community, people don't get the right thing in mind. There's a 65 plus age community in Arizona here that's probably tens of thousands of houses. Like it's huge. It's not like a little community. It's 20 miles this way and 10 miles this way of 65 plus housing. And so every week there's 10 to 15 estate sales every single week starting on Thursday. So I go every Thursday and I hit as many as I can get. Then I do yard sales on Saturday. And then I do thrift stores kind of randomly in between.
Nice. My
thrift stores are really rough here in Arizona. Like a pair of Nikes are going to cost you $45 at Goodwill here. So you got to find the thing that's hidden that they didn't know about. So you can still hit there, but it's a lot harder to hit at the thrift than it used to be. And then going into Q4 now, I've been doing a lot of retail arbitrage as well. That's a big part of like that Amazon number that I was talking about earlier.
Oh yeah.
And even a lot of the eBay number that I hit for the $20,000 last month.
Probably Halloween, a little bit of
Halloween was monster. Halloween was just monster for me. I did at least $10,000 in Halloween decorations last month at a minimum 50% profit margin.
Well, on Halloween, even I mean, you could have went to Home Depot, literally picked up a cat and sold it for $60. I mean, they have these little cats, $60. I mean,
I sold a lot of stuff from Home Depot.
Yeah, the problem with retail arbitrage is going into the fourth quarter is supply. The supply chain is running very, very low. And I think that, because I mean, that's what I used to do the most. I mean, that's realistically what I've built kind of everything around. I also have retail experience, about 10 years in retail corporate for Target and other companies like that. And so I think the hardest part, like right now, is I kind of pulled kind of out of the RA RA for now, a lot of it, and kind of just moved over to like listing my death pile and doing a lot of auction pickups and stuff like that. But the hardest part with the RA is you're going to have to go to like 3-4 times as many stores to get the same amount of goods and stuff. So
yeah, and I was gonna say, like, you know, what I did really good at last month and then kind of going into this month is finding like a little chunk of items that are really good that I can find pretty readily, and just going really deep into those items.
Yeah.
You know, there's an online arbitrage item that I found, you know, that I bought. I can buy them online and have them shipped to me for free. They're $14 and I'm selling them for $35 on Amazon, make about $10 after fees, but I'm selling hundreds a week and it's awesome. So, you know, just going deep into that one, and you know, I'm looking, like, I spent all day yesterday going to Targets, and there's 2 items at Target that I can sell for 100% markup right now the second I find them and list them. And, you know, so it is much harder. And I would say to anybody else who's doing RA for this year, I'm holding a little bit of the stuff that I'm finding back because I know it's going to get harder later in the season to find it. And I think prices are going to go up a little bit, specifically on toys. But, you know, that it is definitely much harder. If you go and you're RAing toys right now and you go to Walmart and you see half the shelf is barren, you know, that's rough.
I throughout so during the summer, I actually spent $7,000 on wholesale toys and held them all summer long. And I'm actually listing them on eBay, and they are, you know, probably 70 to 80% margins on eBay. And for me, I'm kind of backing away from Amazon a lot. So I was last year, about a year and a half ago, I was doing about 70 to 85,000 a month on Amazon, and I kind of backed away from it and kind of pivoted towards eBay a lot bit heavier, because I kind of seen these chain issues coming down the pipeline, and so I pivoted just a little bit. So, but
yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense too.
Guys,
and
people in the audience that are
so.
Yeah, guys, people in the audience that are watching the replay of this, the reason why we make these videos, all of us, me, Shane, Dana, all of us are making these videos is to try to help you guys. So I wanted to pick both your brains, Dana and Shane. Dana, you can go first. How many hours a week do you spend on your resale business, like on an average week? So if someone says, hey, that's my goal, I want to be like Dana, I want to do $20,000 a month in sales on eBay. Like, I want people to understand, like, what kind of work realistically it takes, because I don't want them to think in that they can just wishy-washy and kind of do it part-time on the side as a side hustle and then crank out $20,000 in sales in a month on eBay. So can you talk a little bit about what you realistically, like how many hours you put in? And then I wanted to touch on how many days a week you actually go out and go sourcing.
Yeah, so I would say probably 45 to 50 hours a week. If there's ones where it's a little bit more, but probably 45 to 50. Mm-hmm. I would say I do at least 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday. And then Saturday, it's just as much as I want to do. So I work 6 days a week. And then Sunday, it's, sending offers, and I'll prepare orders for the next day a little bit. So I, kind of work a little bit 7 days a week. But, I try and do that. Saturday is normally for me is supposed to be like the fun sourcing day, so that it's not really that bad to go out. But, like I said, Monday, Wednesday, Friday shipping. Tuesday is normally heavy listing day, and Thursday is a heavy sourcing day for me. So it kind of keeps me in line that way. I forget the second part of your question, but about 45 to 55 hours on average is what I'm.
Well, my other part of my question was, how many days a week do you typically go sourcing?
Yeah, so every Thursday, every Saturday, some Tuesdays. So I really source 2 days a week. I don't know if my fingers, I'm lost on my camera here. I source heavy 2 days a week, and then I hit random stuff kind of throughout the week, or the online stuff, every day whenever I find the opportunity for it. But actual going out sourcing is only 2 days a week.
All right, Shane, you same question. You want to tell people how many? Because we were talking before we went live, and Shane said that he typically tries to keep a 9 to 5 schedule. But like, what's your regular schedule look like, Shane, for you? Like, as far as how many days a week you go sourcing, how many hours do you typically put in? Like the other day, I tried to call Shane, and he's like, "Sorry, bro, I can't answer your call. I'm on a conference call." So talk to me, Shane. Let people know kind of behind the scenes how many hours you typically put in, what your sourcing looks like. Because both of you guys are both full-time resellers, so I just want to hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
I've only sourced one time in the last 3 months. That's it. So and as I stated earlier, so I've kind of pivoted a little bit. I sell a ton of clothing on eBay, and I sell a lot of other stuff as well. For the most part, I had one really big buy that was last summer. I spent $14,000 on, and I bought out a couple big R stores. They were closing in my area, and I actually have a lot of that stuff I'm listing now, and it's like snow boots and stuff like that. So the price of snow boots, there's going to actually be a big snow boot shortage. When I bought the snow boot, they were selling at about $40. Now they're selling in the $70 to $90 range. So I'm listing that stuff, and I do a lot of wholesale stuff, and stuff like that. So I tend to only source, like, I have a big enough death pile. Not even say death pile. I rotate it out. So, I have one room in my warehouse where I just use it to stage stuff. And then as I list it, I pull it from there. So I've only sourced one day in the last 3 months. And I probably work 50 to 60 hours a week, minimum. Because I don't have any employees. So I have one lister, and she's a VA. So literally it's just me and her. And she does it from home in Ohio. So nice. Virtually a lot of the times I'm listing myself, but in the mornings when I wake up, like, I don't want to worry about sourcing or nothing like that. I just go to the office, and I either sit down and I do shipping, or I sit down and start listing. So I probably put in at least 50, 60 hours a week. I mean, that's the minimum, I think. And I think if you're reselling like Dana said, he's putting in around 40, 50 hours. Like, you're going to be, I think, if you're full time, and if you're not making a ton of money on other avenues, you are going to be in the 40 plus hour a week mark, I think.
Yeah, it was a lot less when I was down in those lower numbers. The higher I get here, the more it is.
And especially, like, probably when you were day trading, it was a lot less because you were spending a lot more of your time day trading and stuff. And once you start selling that much, like, you got to ship a lot. Like, since we had the holiday weekend last weekend, I messed up and I did not ship anything until Tuesday, and I had to ship 89 orders at once. So that's no fun.
Yeah, I shipped 4 days last week. Yeah, I was like, I shipped on Monday. I'm like, I know the post office is closed, but I've got 52 orders going out today. Yeah, and I'm selling more today. I'm like, I'm not going to get behind. I need to get caught up. And I had a whole truck, I filled my whole car of UPS stuff, let alone anyways. And I'm like, all right, UPS is open today, so I'm going to get that stuff out of here now.
See, and that's where I messed up. That's as I didn't ship those days, and I was like, I'll ship on Sunday and Monday, and then I didn't.
Yeah.
Well, I think I was the same way, Shane. We had that 4-day weekend. Was it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday? Because I have all my stuff outside in the shed, and I'm here in Florida, and I don't want to go outside and be drenched in sweat, and then more stuff sells the next day, and then I got to go back out the shed again and pull orders. So I just waited till like Monday night, Tuesday, and then I just shipped out like 4 days worth of merchandise all at one time. So that way I can go through, pull all the orders, box it up, ship it out. So it's nice because we still had that, post offices closed that Monday, so we still had that extra day to get all the stuff shipped out. So Dana, while we have you here on the program today, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what would be your top 3 pieces of advice you could give to somebody if they're watching our podcast or watching our video today. If they're one of these people and maybe they either have a full-time job already, they're reselling part-time on the side, or maybe they have a reselling business and they're like where you were a year ago and they're doing $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in 90 days on eBay. They would like to grow and scale their business to get to 20K a month, because that's the title of our video is how to make 20K a month in sales on eBay. What advice would you have to give to this person to help them grow and scale their business? Because they don't have to be like me and then have 5, 6, 7,000 items listed on eBay. You can do it with a smaller store only having 1,200 items listed. So go ahead and drop some knowledge on our audience to help them out.
Yeah, so let's see. I'd say 1, surround yourself with the right people, and just wherever your circle of influence is. So like for me, what really pushed me was when we started that 10 a day in May challenge, and we had the hashtag 10 a day in May on Instagram. And if you didn't post your 10 a day listings, then you were going to get called out by somebody. And so I still think you need to be self-motivated, but surround yourself with the right people where you can learn and push each other. I think is an awesome thing, because reselling can be lonely, like he said over there.
Yeah.
I'm backwards on my camera. Like he said over there, he works by himself and he has a VA in another location, and so I work 100% by myself. I work out of this one room. It's like 12 by 12, and I've got a 1-car garage space. And so it can get lonely. That was the whole point of starting YouTube and Instagram and all that kind of stuff, is to keep learning and push and all that. I would say, don't be afraid to learn new things. Like I didn't know about selling DVD VCR combo units and how to test them, and what a good 35 millimeter camera was versus a junky one, or that I don't enjoy listing clothes, right? So I didn't know that. I listed a few and I was like, this is horrible. I don't want anything to do with this.
See, and I'm the same way with electronics. I'm like, I don't want nothing to do with it. Like, take them. I don't want them. And I'm the same. It's just really whatever you feel like you want to list. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. You got to find what you enjoy, because if you make working for yourself a job, you will fail. You will hate it. You will not want to do it. So for me, like listing clothes, and I have to lay them flat and take the measurements and what's the fabric type and what's the pattern, that's over my head. And I'm not interested in that. And so I like, my average sell price right now is like $69 or something like that.
It's pretty good.
So I love a high average sale price. And so that's what I shoot for, is trying to get a higher average sales price with lower quantity sold, than to, be daily refinement and cranking out, $525 items a day, which different business models, right?
Yeah.
So, you just got to push yourself and learn new things. And like I said, that was a big change for me, was watching the people and learning new things. And then I would say, I'll throw one more thing out, and I don't know if I guess this will be number 3, is don't be afraid to just do it, right? So you have to, let me do this 2 parts. 1, I was in a financially stable position. So I had the money to do it. I don't have any debt. I don't have any car payments. Like, it was easy-ish for me to do it, because I had the ability to do it. And if I failed, I wasn't going to get hurt. So I would say, for somebody wanting to get in that position, make sure you set yourself up for that. Have a couple months of income ready to go, so that you can invest into your business and not worry about paying your mortgage or putting gas in the car, feeding your kids, all that kind of stuff. But when you decide to do it, don't dabble. Don't put your toes in the water. Jump in and do it. And if you do it, you're gonna sink or swim, right? And for me, that was what really did it, was, wanting to report back to my wife of like, yes, it's working. Here's the sales. Here's the money. I committed to sending a certain amount of money every single week to the checking account, and I've hit it. So that was a big thing for me, is just not dabbling, jump in and do it. But I was ready to do it. So again, for anybody new, if you're not ready to leave your job, that's okay. Do it part-time, build up the capital, get yourself to where you need to be, pay off some debt, put a couple $1,000 in the bank, and then go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, you don't want to be, you said earlier about sink or swim, but you don't want to put yourself in a position where, you can't afford to pay your bills, or you have to choose between buying inventory for your eBay store to reinvest in your business versus buying groceries this month. You don't want to be in that situation. So if you have money put aside and you have your bills paid up, you have an emergency fund set aside. But at a certain point, Dana, I just wanted to go through ask you a question. Like, in your mind, when you were like looking at it, you were kind of like teeter-tottering on the side because, on one hand, you're like safe, secure job, have a guaranteed paycheck every week. The other hand, you're like risk taker, entrepreneur. I'm going to be self-motivated and list stuff on eBay. What was it that kind of gave you the courage? Because I don't have a wife and kids or a family. It's just me. So if I fail, I don't have to like report to somebody, but like, hey, you know what? I'm sorry, kids, we don't get to eat this month because, you guys are eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because I screwed up and made a mistake. But like, what gave you the courage to be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to do this. Peace out. I'm put my 2 weeks notice in. I'm going to leave my corporate job and I'm going to start this gig of reselling. And I believe in my head, like, I'll tell you guys, 95% of this, I'd say probably 90% of this is all mindset, right? It's all what's going on upstairs in your head. So what was it that gave you the courage to kind of take that leap of faith to kind of go out and do your own thing?
I've always been entrepreneur minded. I read a book a while back that was The Millionaire Fast Lane. And it was basically
MJ
like,
DeMarco. Go ahead.
I've met him multiple times, gone to the conventions. Anyways, it's a good thing. And basically, the whole premise of that book and everything is don't waste your life working for someone else if you have the drive to do more for yourself. And so there's nothing wrong with the people who work a 9 to 5 for the rest of their life. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you're built to do and you like the safety and security, then do it. Well, for me, I sold a house and then we sold another house and we had a lot of money built up. And so I was like, what better time than now when we just cashed in on the real estate market and all that, and we've got the ability to do it. I'm not getting any younger. My wife was, to be honest, she was 9 months pregnant, and we had just bought another house. And so, it was a scary time when we started all that, but it was, like I said, if we're not going to do it now, then when am I going to do it? And that was kind of my thought was, with my wife being 9 months pregnant, my first daughter, she's 9 now, and she didn't like me when she was a baby because she never saw me. And when she did see me, it was really late at night. And I was not happy. I was tired from working and I wanted to be left alone. And, so you see that of like my current daughter, the youngest one who, she's 2 now. She loves me. She hangs out and daddy and like all that kind of stuff. That was not my first daughter. And the reason is because I'm home now, right? I can see her whenever and I work my schedule around. I get up and get stuff done while the other one's in school. And then when I go pick her up from school and bring her home and I'm done working for the day, other than sending and responding to offers and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So, it was a big deal to me to do it. But like I said, it was a, if not now, then when. And I knew if I failed, I could always go back and get another job and, hopefully, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to spend more time with my family. And so that's what pushed me.
And the thing is, and I like that you brought that up because the truth is, and not a lot of people will say this, but the truth is having a business and being an entrepreneur is not meant for everyone. And in the times of like YouTube, that's hustle porn is what I call it, hustle porn. And what that is it is you see a lot of people that's switching to reselling, and a lot of those people, and I don't want to be negative, but a lot of those people will fail. And they will fail because it's just not meant to be for them because they don't have the mentality. You can learn the mentality, but it's really hard to learn.
Yep.
The thing is you know, you really have to, like when you go full time, you really have to be sure of that. And you know, like you did, you were dabbling and you were doing it part time, and that's kind of what I did. I was doing it part time, and then when I didn't want to be in my job anymore, I stayed for an extra like 4 years, and I just did a lot. Like I think the biggest key to being a full-time reseller is being debt free. I'm almost debt free as well. I would not have went full-time if I wasn't almost debt free, because my wife does not make a lot of money. She makes very little money. And so I would not have went full-time if I wasn't almost debt free, because it would have been a really big barrier. And so I think you really got to look at your finances and say, okay, does it make sense if I stay an extra 4 years of my job and pay off an extra X amount of debt, or go full time now? So,
yeah, totally agree.
I agree with you guys. If you're, you know, the average person, let's say, has a $500 a month car payment, and then you're paying full covered insurance, and then let's say your rent, let's say, is $1,500 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment, and then you add up all your expenses, it's kind of hard to just be like, oh, I'm leaving my safe, secure job to go be an entrepreneur. It's difficult to do that. Anyways, we're running a little bit over on time. We try to make this video around 30 minutes. So to wrap this up, can you guys give us like maybe your final thoughts, and then we'll jump over. We're doing like a 2-part series for the podcast. So part 1 is going to be on my channel. Part 2 is going to be on Shane's channel. So go subscribe to Shane. And my buddy here, Dana Invest, is close to 1,000 subscribers. So everybody watching this, if you guys would go jump on, all the links are going to be down below to follow Shane and Dana for Instagram and YouTube. So go by and follow and subscribe to his channel if you're not already subscribed. And hey, you might learn something. There's only so much that I can teach you. That's why we bring on other guests every week that can drop knowledge and give you different views and perspectives and motivation and inspiration to kind of help you push your business along. So go by and give them a follow. So in closing, what would be your final thoughts that you could give our audience, Dana and Shane?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess I'll go is, you know, I'll just go back to my things before. Don't be afraid to learn more, right? Keep pushing yourself and make sure you're ready for it. You know, like we've said, be debt free. Have some money put aside. Make sure you've had that conversation with your significant other or yourself, right? Have the conversation with yourself. Is this really what I want to do? And then, you know, if you decide you're going to do it, then do it. And don't be afraid to understand or tell yourself later that, hey, this is working or this is not working, and then reevaluate. And like I said, I gave myself a year, and I said, I'm going to give this a year, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, great. Then that's where I'm going to make my decision. And, you know, I think I've passed the point of where I need to make that decision, but that was the goal at the beginning of the year. Is I set a time frame, and I said that here's the expectations for it. So here's my run rate. Here's my numbers. Can I go do it?
Yeah. And I tell you guys all the time, the biggest thing about being an entrepreneur is mindset. So you have to believe that you can do it. Surround yourself with other like-minded people. Like Dana said earlier, that he has a group of people that he kind of reports to every week, every month. They say, hey, I listed 10 items today. How many did you list? So being surrounded with a group of like-minded people is going to give you an advantage over other people that who are just kind of doing it solo. So being surrounded with other like-minded people, giving yourself goals, and then, you know, making a little bit of progress. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day, but if every month, every week, every year, you can kind of build on that and make a little bit of progress, you'll get there. So anyways, go follow our guest, Dana Invest. All the links are going to be down below. And then go subscribe to Shane, Rise and Grind Picker. Part 2 of our episode is going to be on Shane's channel. So I'll see you guys there. Till then, you guys have a great weekend, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye, guys.
Yeah.